Why, hello everybody, it is Kyle from UnBoxed Autos, and today I'm really excited to show you guys the 2023 Ford F-150 Lightning. So this is the all-electric, 100% electric F-150. It's really the first to market, of the big three in terms of, pickup trucks. So now we're going to go ahead and give it a full review. We're going to check out the exterior design, some of the unique features of the Lightning. We're going to go ahead and take it for a test drive, talk about charging capabilities, range, all that good stuff, plus all the different trim levels. So strap in, let's get ready, and we're going to go ahead and start a review here on the Ford F-150 Lightning. All right, so you've probably heard a lot about the Ford F-150 Lightning. It's a pretty big deal considering that this is the first fully electric pickup truck that Ford has ever made. This is truly, an interesting time in history here. We're looking at, sort of the equivalent of, the Ford Model T, if you will, just in terms of history here. So this is the F-150 Lightning, first ever fully electric pickup truck by Ford Motor Company, and this is really setting the stage for the future of pickup trucks. Now, of course, for a long time, into the future, we will still have petrol-based, diesel, etc. Pickup trucks, just due to capability needs for everybody. But this eventually will take over in, perhaps 20, 30 years from now, depending on technology developments. This is going to be the future, and this is the first of the future. Right here is what we're looking at. Now, you may be wondering, how much does it cost? Well, it's not cheap. There are 4 different trim levels available on the F-150 Lightning. The first one would be the Pro level, and that's going to be your basic, work-esque truck. And it doesn't really have a work-esque price. It starts at $59,974. The XLT comes in, which is what we have right here. You're looking at the XLT model. The XLT starts at $64,474. Lariat is going to add some luxury features on there. You're looking at $76,974. Platinum, range topping Platinum Edition, it's going to be $98,074. So obviously pretty pricey, but this is, very standard pricing in terms of the competition. Obviously trucks these days anyway, you're going to be looking at $55,000, $60,000 for a mid-level, petrol truck. So not a huge difference on pricing, but still obviously not cheap. Now, the standard range, we're looking at 240 miles. The extended range brings that up to 320 miles. We are looking at the extended range here. That adds about $10,000 onto the price tag. So the XLT with extended range, you're looking at $78,874. Towing capacity, well, first let me touch on towing with electric trucks. So it's going to significantly reduce your range. It's really not meant, if you do any type of towing that's not just around town, probably not the best option for you because you're going to be cutting your range by a lot. Car and Driver did a test, I believe at 70 miles per hour on the highway near max towing capabilities. They got about 100 miles of range. So not what you want to take on a camping road trip, but it does have strong capabilities in that department. Towing standard range 7,700 pounds. 5,000 pounds standard range, 7,700 pounds for the extended range. Now the Platinum has a 300-mile range, and that has a max towing capacity of 8,500 pounds. So, pretty good. Now let's get to some of the good stuff about the Lightning. That would be the base motor here in this truck has 452 horsepower and a stunning 775 pound-feet of torque. That's all instant, so it drives, like gangbusters. It's really incredible. Then, you bump up to the extended range battery, you get that 580 horsepower, 775 pound-feet of torque. Absolutely incredible. So tons of power here. It also has the largest in-class front trunk, as so known as the frunk. We're going to go ahead, get the keys out, and we're going to show you guys that here in a second. So we'll go ahead, take a look at that. There's the key. So you can see here we have the rear tailgate, and then the front opens up here. Pretty cool. So yeah, tons of space here, guys. Tons of space. And in terms of functionality, right here, wow, look at that. This has the Pro Power Package on board. So basically you can run your entire house off of your truck in time of no power. Pretty cool though. A little storage space under here as well. So yeah, tons of space, excellent cargo capabilities. Really like that. You just close it now like that. But I think, I really like the look. I think it's cool. Here we have the LED light bar across the front. And this, overall though, it looks a lot like a regular F-150, except of course for a few things like this that you'll notice. We'll show you that in a second. This is a styling accent on this side. On the other side, it's actually the charging point, the port where you're going to go ahead and charge the Lightning. Of course, we have the Lightning badging right here, so that's how you're going to know that it's a Lightning. Or some of those few styling cues: the light bar in the front, Lightning badge, and then on the Lariat and Platinum models across the rear here, you're going to get a full LED light bar here across the rear tailgate. The Pro model and the XLT that we have here does not have that. Payload. Let's talk payload. We have this bed right here, so let's talk about it. We have a payload capacity max of 2,000 pounds for the standard range model and 1,800 pounds for the extended range. Obviously, we are adding on a lot of extra weight with the larger battery, so we cannot afford to have as much in the bed. But let's go ahead though and look at some cool features that the Lightning does offer us. Right here, soft release, so that's really nice. It's also really light, the tailgate. That's across the board in the F-150 lineup. Right here, you're gonna see here all of the different outlets. So right here, we have a 240 volt 30 amp outlet right here. All right. You have a host of other outlets as well right here with lots of power capacity. So you have a power outage, you can go ahead and actually run some really important appliances. Let's say you don't want all your food to spoil. You have $400 or $500 of food in your refrigerator. It's not a problem. You can plug it into your truck. It saves the day. Again, really light, really easy maneuverable. There's also the step ladder function right here across the board in the F-150. It's seen right here. I like the rear lighting design. I think it looks really neat. They're of course LEDs. I like how they've went ahead here and added different textures like this right here and texturized it also over here. Gave it a really cool style, how they also popped it out and gave it sort of this three-dimensional look. It looks really cool. Again, Lightning, I think it's a really cool badge. And then in terms of charging, it's pretty simple. You just press right here, opens right up. So standard fast charging capabilities, and it's rated at a max of 155, I believe, 155 kilowatt. However, I actually was able to get a little over that under, ideal temperatures. Right now, the temperature is ideal for the electric truck. It's been in the mid 70s, so the battery's happy. It's in its comfort zone, and I actually took it on a little bit of a shorter road trip. Really was not a problem. It handled everything really well. The charging really is not that bad when you have the perfect weather, perfect conditions, and all the chargers are working. It's not, obviously it's not as convenient as a gasoline vehicle for a road trip, but you pull over, you take a little break every 200 or so miles for about 30 minutes, and again, if you're traveling across the country, not totally ideal, but it's really not that bad either. All right, let's talk about interior here. The Lightning is made to be very similar to the standard F-150. So on the inside, we're going to see, what we're really familiar with. Right here, good texturing, nice quality here on the door panels. A little accent here. The door handle release is actually right in here, which I always liked on the Fords. Pretty cool. A little bit of stitching in here. Lots of cubbies. So if you have, lots of tools or papers, things like that, it's really easy to go ahead and store that stuff. Driver's side, we have, Window controls down here, obviously lock and unlock right here. I like the design. I think it's cool how they have, you know, this faced up right here, and that's right here. It's not just all flat on one surface. There's actually some nice design flow in here. Same with the window. Always really liked how in the Fords, on the trucks, you know, they have this slope to the window. Adds a nice design aspect to it. Plus, I think it's cool to kind of rest your arm. It's pretty comfortable right there. Again, tons of storage in the door panels, things like that. This has the cloth seats, so, you know, robust, durable, nice fabric. It's not like your old school cloth. It's actually, you know, again, it feels very durable. It's very comfortable. I like it overall. It's nice. We'll, of course, talk more about interior in a minute, but I did wanted to show you guys something else here on the other side of the truck, and that is, you know, just the back seat area, how functional that is. So right here, this whole back seat actually goes up. So this side goes up, this side goes up, and, you know, it creates a lot of extra space. Plus there's some little bins down here on both sides, which is nice if you need to store stuff. Tons of space back here. Easily can haul around, you know, 4 people in extreme comfort, even 5. The trucks are so spacious in the back now that it's honestly more comfortable than a lot of cars. So pretty impressive. But yeah, again, in terms of design, you can see, of course, the full LED light bar in the front, which looks cool. And yeah, let's go ahead now and check out the inside and give a deeper dive into the technology and interior. Now, inside, you'll be greeted with a very large and spacious cabin, compliments of the Ford F-150. Obviously, this is a really large truck, and it definitely shows once you're inside. Very spacious, extremely comfortable. So yeah, in terms of, you know, overall design language, I really like these air vents. We have these cool little textured side panels in here, which add a cool little flavor to the interior design. Pretty standard air vent controls. This is a nice rubber textured feel here, so a little something extra. I appreciate the difference here in color. So we have this silver right here, we have this darker brushed sort of aluminum look, and then mixed up here with this sort of texturized rubbered dashboard material. So that's going to be good. You know, we have lots of sunlight coming in for, you know, up in here gets pretty hot. So this is going to be a nice material that won't fade. I feel like it'll be pretty robust over time. Up here, we have tons of storage. Appreciate that. Again, this is a truck still, so, you know, we have lots of tools, things like that. Plenty of space to add a few little things up there. Up there, again, same texturized, sort of like rubberized leather. Right here, we have a little holder, little space in here for holding a few things. In here, this could be bigger. Not too bad, though. Right there, of course, air vent again. Window, door controls, standards there on the passenger side. The cloth seats, I think they are pretty comfortable, as I mentioned before. We have a couple different textures. We have this sort of upper back, lower leg, and then in the center here, it's a little more of a basic cloth material than this up here, which feels a little bit nicer to the touch. And let's go ahead actually and power it on. So actually don't hear anything when you start it up, which is pretty interesting. We have the new graphic here on the Lightning, which sort of shows this energy light bar, as you can see there, sort of outlining the truck, which looks neat. Now, in terms of other functionality, this does fold down, allowing for us to have a very large space to write on. So the idea behind this, of course, is you are writing up a contract or an estimate. You're out in the field, you need some space for your clipboard, some space to write some things down. So that's what this is doing for us right here. I think that's nifty. I like that. Tons of space in here, and it's a very deep holding area, so tons of storage there, as expected across the board. Go ahead and pop that back up. And yeah, but I really like that. The instrument cluster, once again, you know, I like that a lot also. It's very similar to the standard F-150 instrument cluster, but of course we have something new on the left-hand side. There's range, so it's showing all the way on the left-hand side. In this portion, on the outer portion, it's going to go ahead and show how, you know, our acceleration how much we're using there. And then on the right side, of course, pretty self-explanatory. It's showing the range, and then of course all the way on this side has the speedo. Now up top it's showing different temperatures for the battery, which I like. I don't see that in other vehicles, and that's something that I like to keep an eye on, just so I know, just more of a curiosity standpoint, where those temperatures are. And then of course when they're in the optimal range like they are right now, when you go ahead and charge it up, it will be able to access the max charging speed very, very quickly, which I love. Of course, when you're driving an electric car, you do not want to be waiting around at charging at 75 kilowatts an hour. It's not a good time. But again, with this truck, the entire time it's been max charging. As soon as I plug it in, around 20% all the way up to the 80%-ish level, it's been really, honestly, pretty easy. And right in here we have different graphics that we can choose from here. We can look at the tire pressure, customize here the panel. Right here it's my view, trip, so we can go ahead and look at trip 1, 2, and this trip as well. So you can go ahead and see some different trip informations. And then of course we have truck info, which is pretty much what I have in my view. Towing, if you're towing, there's a lot of trailer information, lots of good information here if you are doing towing that you can go ahead and look into. So that's great. Yeah, it all has to be, of course, set up within the main system, but yeah, it's pretty good. You can also set up navigation through there, phone, audio, and then of course some settings. So pretty robust system. I like the layout and the cluster. It's very clean, very crisp, high quality display. So yeah, in terms of the steering wheel, standard F-150 steering wheel, really comfortable, nice size, plenty of different areas to hold on to. Over here we have our cruise control settings. We also have our lane departure, so if we want to have our lane keep system on and off, we can toggle through that. We have the different distances here for our distance guided cruise control, setting the distance gap there. Audio controls, voice commands, of course. And then over here, as you probably saw me working on the steering wheel, that's all done through this series of buttons right here. Phone controls, audio controls. So pretty self-explanatory. I like that these buttons are bigger, so if you have gloves on or something, it's pretty easy, to touch them. So that's something to be considered. A little bit of stitching here on the XLT model. So yeah, nice quality steering wheel. Overall, I like it quite a bit. Up top over here in the media system, we're going to see a series of 2 buttons on this side. So that's going to be our 360-degree view camera, which is definitely something that we want driving such a large truck. And then you can also look more into the individual views as well. This is a wide angle, which I find helpful at times. If you want to, you're hitching up right here, very convenient. And then this full rear view right there like you get here. So yeah, pretty good. If you want to turn off these sensors, which I don't know why you would, but perhaps you're in a car wash or you're going to be in a really tight spot, you don't want to hear those, you can turn those off right there. Hazards, and then traction control off ends the display, or ends the button rows up top. And yeah, coming down here, pretty self-explanatory, but a few things that I do like are we have 3 different auto climate control modes, so it adjusts the blower speed within that auto level. So we have 1, 2, 3 different levels for that. So if you get in your car after a hot day or a cold day and you don't want the air like on max right away, you can leave it in 1 and it will not reach the that super high blowing level. Also too, when you're just on the road, you want the air just to be a little bit less flow, you can go ahead and do that. We do have here dual zone climate control. So we have those 2 options right here. You can it's controlled by these 2 dials here on either side. Heated steering wheel, 3 different levels of heated seats for both the driver and passenger. Then a few other little climate control options right here for recirculation, and of course the different levels of the airflow if it's not in auto mode. All right, so I really like this display that we have right here. It's very large and it supports Android Auto and Apple CarPlay wirelessly, which is great. And it's just a really fantastic system. Responds pretty quickly for what it is. If you are not an Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, the navigation system honestly is really good here too. So that's always nice to have a solid navigation system integrated directly into the vehicle as well if you don't want to hook up your phone for whatever reason. Right here we have some different drive modes. You can see we have normal, We have the sport mode, which does actually change up how everything looks a little bit, which is fun. We have one pedal driving option, of course, road. We also have a off-road mode, tow haul mode. So you can actually go ahead and, kind of read a little bit more about what those modes do exactly. One pedal driving, so that's going to be, as you let your foot off the gas, it's going to sort of start to apply some regenerative braking. And then we have a locking differential. So yeah, obviously locks the rear axle so that both rear wheels spin at the same speed, providing more traction when needed off-road. Anywho, that's the different drive modes. We have different apps. So as you can see here, settings, good amount of settings here. Vehicle hotspot. So we have Wi-Fi capabilities, which is nice. All right, audio system, bass audio system in this car, not too good. It's really not that good. I wish they would have just added just a little bit of a better bass audio system in this car. It's not so terrible where you're like, oh my God, this is awful, but it's really not super great either. So I would definitely like to have the upgraded audio system if I had this truck. I do, though, listen to a lot of music, so could have something to do with it. But yeah, different general settings. As you can see, though, the screen is very responsive to touch inputs, which is fantastic. Now, looking here under features, we have drive modes, driver assistance. Let's check that out for a second. We have auto hold, which is convenient for driving a lot of city traffic, adaptive cruise control. We have the alert plus aid for the lane keep system. We have pre-collision assist. So this can go ahead and actually, if the car doesn't feel we're responding in time, it'll actually go ahead and auto brake for us to avoid a collision. And we have rear cross traffic alert, brake alert for the rear, driver alert, blind spot systems, and parking aid sensors. And yeah, so there's also some different settings here you can go through with the Pro Power on board. This is going to be, you can look at the different outlets that you have, and you can see where all the power is going. And then also you can set here, say, hey, I don't want to keep charging my house or keep running the electricity to my house before, I get to, a certain, once it drops below a certain range on the battery, it will go ahead and cut off the power as well. Zone lighting is a nice feature that we have for the exterior. So if you're working on some projects at night, you need some light, you can go ahead and turn that on. Or if you just need to work on something outside and have a little bit of light, plug something in, you can go ahead and do that. And yeah, so yes, a few other little settings here in terms of charging the car. We can set it to charge at certain times, certain maximums, things like that. If you have it charging in your house and you want it to be a certain temperature in the car, things like that, we can set that all up pretty easily. And yeah, again, back to drive modes, some basic functions like that. But yeah, overall, lots of technology here. Nice screen, very responsive. Feels like you're operating an iPad or your smartphone, which is exactly how it should be. But yeah, guys, all right, so now we're going to go ahead actually and take it for a drive on the road and let you guys know what it's like to drive the Lightning. Gotta tell you, I love just how responsive it is. It is so responsive to power inputs. I mean, oh geez. I mean, you just step on it, this thing just takes off. I mean, it has 775 pound-feet of torque at your disposal all at one time. It's absolutely nuts. I mean, this thing is crazy. 0 to 60 time car and driver estimate of 4 seconds. Well, they actually did it on the test track, so 4 seconds. It's absolutely bonkers for a truck. Now, we're driving here in very tight city conditions, but I gotta tell you, I really love the driving dynamics here of the F-150 Lightning. It's definitely, in my opinion, the best driving F-150. That's probably due to its low center of gravity and, everyday drivability. It also has, more. The tires on this particular model are focused more on efficiency, everyday driving, so they're not off-road tires. And makes it, obviously have a pretty nice sporty little drive to it. And then also it's, helps for the handling. These tires are, pretty robust. It doesn't have those huge sidewalls, which are great for off-roading. But, when you're taking quicker turns and things of that nature, it's not doing you any favors. But yeah, guys, I mean, this, in terms of everyday drivability, the F-150 Lightning is a really, really great truck. I also really like this, handling. Once again, the handling and the pickup speed is just such a good time. It's so fun to drive, honestly. It's fun to drive truck. and that's just, you know, something you're not going to find too often. And, you know, again, why it handles well is, you know, because we have all that weight from the battery here down under. So it's, you know, really giving us, when we're turning, taking quicker turns and things like that, giving us all of that weight there at the bottom. So it really helps us, you know, stay really stable up top. Very limited body roll as well also. And the ride, just in terms of soaking up bumps and things of that nature, also very comfortable. Obviously a lot of trucks across the segment, they're generally pretty comfortable, good at soaking up bumps, but it really doesn't feel like you're driving a truck when you're driving the F-150 Lightning. It really does feel more like a you know, like a larger SUV or something like that. The other great thing about driving the F-150 Lightning is that really no matter which model you choose, whether it's the Pro model, which is the entry level, all the way up to the Platinum model, of course the extended range does give you just a little bit more, of course, range and also horsepower, but you know, across the board you're getting that front and rear axle motors, so they're good. They're just, you know, providing just an absolute ton of torque, of instant torque there, and so it's really going to be just a lot of fun to drive, honestly, no matter which model you choose. So, you know, again, it's a nice setup. Anywho, well, that's all we have for you guys today in our review here on the 2023 Ford F-150 Lightning. If you guys have any questions, please do leave them in the comment section below. We'll be sure to answer them. And until next time, I'm Kyle from UnBoxed Autos.